Hi guys, Aviation JFK here, back at you with another video. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a very simple ILS box for your 1:400 or 1:200 scale model airport. So just a quick announcement, or just a quick few things before we start the build. You're going to need a few things before we can get started, so you might want to gather these things before you watch this video if you're going to build it. So you're going to need a white piece of 10-pound cardstock. Now if you're planning on doing this with paper, don't follow some of the instructions that I'm giving. So like, don't do any of the scoring, because that will cut through your paper, and you'll see what I mean by that later on in the video. So yeah, you're going to need a piece of 10-pound cardstock, 2 Q-tips, a blade of sorts, a pencil, a red Sharpie, a centimeter ruler, and some sort of clear glue that won't like cut away at the paper. So yeah, those are all the things you're going to need. So yeah, without further ado, let's get straight into it. And yeah, so the first measurements or first few things you want to take in mind is you're not going to be able to draw this on the corner of the page, purely because you have to make tabs for the structure to fold in. So yeah, the first few lines that you're going to have to draw with your centimeter ruler is one 5-centimeter vertical line. So you have that, and then you're going to want to take your ruler and try and get it as at 90 degrees as possible, and then make a 2-centimeter mark. These are both exactly 2 centimeters apart, so you're going to want to connect these two lines like so. And try and do this as exactly as possible, because this will pay off in the end. So there you have your first little rectangular structure, and then what you're going to want to do is grab your ruler again and mark off a 1 centimeter section, a 1.5 centimeter section, a 1 centimeter section, and then to the end. And you're going to do that on both sides of the rectangle you've just drawn. So connect these lines. So there you have the next bit of the rectangle. So you have these sectioned off. These lines are going to represent the different folds and scores that we're going to have to make later on. So yeah, next up here, you're going to want to grab the section that is the largest and is not touching any of the ends, and you're going to want to take your ruler to the line and mark off, carry on drawing this line 1 centimeter on either side, and this will become the end of the ILS box. And now you have your basic net or basic walls of the building. So now what you're going to want to do is mark off at 0.5 centimeter sections on each part of on each wall of the, or each exposed side of this rectangle. This will become more apparent later as to why we are doing this. So you're going to grab your red Sharpie and you're going to mark off, you're going to draw along each of these dotted lines. So you can see that this here is like one of the dotted lines. One tip that I highly recommend is to draw on the blank sections first, not along these lines on the outside, because that way you won't get your Sharpie dirty, and you won't get these really dark red lines which are just going to ruin the look. So what you're going to do is just grab your Sharpie and as simple as that, just draw the vertical lines. So yeah, here you have it. That's the grid section, and then what you're going to want to do is just color in like a chessboard, checkers board, whatever you want to call it. So here we have finished the drawing of the ILS, like red lines, you could say. And now what you're going to want to do is you're going to mark off these little pencil lines, try and make them a little bit more visible for yourself, so you can kind of like see, oh, this is really only the place where you need to do it. And then what you're going to do is kind of just draw tabs where appropriate. So you can just follow mine, because you don't draw tabs on every single corner. So that right there is kind of the idea, and then you're gonna, here is where you grab your X-Acto knife or your blade, and this is, scoring is basically, you don't cut all the way through, you kind of just run the blade across the card, and it will leave an indent, which is something which basically makes it easier to fold, and it makes the folds a lot more crisp. So what you're going to do is you're going to line up here with your pencil line, and you're going to and yeah, that's basically it for the scoring side of things. This just makes it so much easier to fold each line, and now what you're going to want to do is take your ruler to these pencil lines again on the outside and just cut through. So here you have your little ILS piece. So there we have the cutout shape, everything scored, everything cut out. And now what you're going to need to do is just gently just score, like fold these lines over. See, some of mine weren't that good, and I actually bent a little bit of the paper, which is not ideal. But here you can see the kind of finished result of the folded part of the structure. I mean, you can kind of just like play around with it already and just see that it will fold into a box. And now what you're going to want to do is just grab your glue, try and put as little amount on each tab as possible. My glue has like this problem where it just oozes out, and then just hold it like that for like 5-10 minutes ish. And this will be the only bit that you really need to hold for extensive periods of time, because this will be like the first main part of the structure. Okay, so here we have the second section of the box that we'll be folding over. Make sure again that all these tabs are perfectly folded in, so that it is just a seamless fit, like so. And then you can kind of just go from there. So once you're kind of happy with the way it is dried, you can kind of just take your red Sharpie, and you can see if there's like any white spots where the tabs are still showing a little bit, and you can just cover it in red to make it look a bit better. So yeah, that's like the main body of the ILS box done. Now what you're going to want to do is grab your 2 Q-tips, or one. I mean, it depends on how long each of your Q-tips is, but mine aren't that long. But I think I can squeeze it in here. Yeah, so you need 4 centimeters from one. Then what you're going to want to do is just get your blade here. Once you've marked off 4 centimeters with a 2 centimeter little thing in the middle, you can see. You're just going to grab your blade, put it on one side, and just, now you can also do this with scissors, but a blade just gives a better result. Just press down, kind of. So now you have your two little poles here. You're going to grab your ruler again, and on each of these, since they're 2 centimeters long, mark off 0.5 centimeters on each one. So now that you have your two pylons kind of with the marks on, so you just grab the end one and just roll it around until you get to the end here, and then you can just color it in as you wish. And there you have the two poles that you see on the ILS box, and that's basically all of the red parts, Sharpie parts that you need to do. And you can kind of see that it looks decent. And then you're going to grab your glue again. Once you've done this, you're going to grab your glue and put a small dab on the bottom of the white bit here, like so, and just stick it onto one of the ends of your ILS box. Kind of put it on. The most important part is if it's the correct height on the top rather than the bottom. You can see that mine is a little bit off here, but that is all okay as long as they're the same height at the top. That'll make it, that's the most important. So yeah, there you have your ILS box. And again, as I said, you can double the measurements to make it 1 to 200 scale. You might need to get a dowel instead of Q-tips for this if you want to do the 1 to 200 scale for the little poles bit. But yeah, I hope this was some help to some of you. I know I got a couple of questions when I introduced them first in my first update with grass and stuff. So yeah, these are kind of sitting on the side of my runway at the moment. So yeah, I hope you like this video. Please consider subscribing. The channel's growing really nicely, and let me know what you think in the comments if you want to see more stuff like this in the future. So yeah, it's been Aviation JFK signing off.